Welcome back. My name is Chris Cora, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to step through the review for the midterm exam for Creo Parametric 6.0. Now, with regards to this, just be aware, those of you who are in my course, you may watch this video as many times as you like, and I recommend that you practice it at least 3 times. But when coming into class, just be aware you cannot watch the video while you take it. So be sure to watch it, practice it, and strive for perfection on this one, because you are able to do it, and in real world you want to try and find that perfection. So especially with dimensions and such. Anyhow, those of you who are taking the course from online, you're not to watch it either during the exam. So again, you could watch it and review, but take it. You have to basically not watch it while you take it. And you would just be cheating yourself if you went ahead and you watched it while taking the test, because unfortunately, if you ever go off to get a job doing this, places I've been to, typically they do actually test you. A manager will sit down next to you, they'll give you a drawing of some sort, and they'll want to watch you go through it. Be aware that if you don't really practice these exams, or I should say any of these exercises, labs, such, you won't do well on that type of a test. So that's where I say you're basically going to be cheating yourself. Anyhow, let's go ahead and we'll get started here. Now, you will find on the V as in Victor, ER, T as in Tom, A, N as in Nancy, U, X as in X-ray, 1.com webpage. Go to the Exams tab at the upper right and find the Creo Pro-E Basics Midterm. Click on that. Now you can actually download this. You hit download here. And let's first step through what it entails. First of all, you're going to model the bottle drawing. So here's the bottle drawing right there. Then model the cap drawing. So these are 2 separate parts you're creating models for. Don't recreate the drawings, just the model. That's why I say model. Okay, then the third thing is to create the bottle assembly and attach the cap to the bottle, and don't forget to explode it. And then finally, recreate the medicine bottle assembly drawing, print and turn in, and do not forget to insert your name into the drawing. If it's 20 points off, if you forget that. The way I grade these typically, they're worth 300 points total. And for significant issues like dimensional issues, as well as in this case you're missing something like a view or feature on the model, those are all 20 points off immediately. And I know you might think like, oh, that's pretty harsh for just one thing I'm missing. But the fact is remember, you need to strive for perfection. You have this video to help you in advance. But anyhow, just note that that's the way it works. Anything less than that, like if it's, for example, the way something is drawn up differently, like at one point on some of the views I asked for tangent edges with font, which basically you'll see in just a little bit. If you're missing that, that's not like catastrophic, but I'll mark off 5 points for it. Or if there's an extension line or something overlapping another piece of geometry that shouldn't be there, those are 5 points apiece, but they can add up quickly. So that's basically if it's a sloppy drawing. And then 10 points goes to if you're missing something like, for example, ask for maybe a center mark or something and it's not there. Those are 10 points. So 5, 10, and 20 points. All right, so let's take a look here. This is what you're going to turn in. See this drawing right here? That's essentially what you need to turn into. I mean, it should look very similar to what is there. Now I would recommend starting off with the bottle. Now, I've seen students where they go the revolve method for this and they draw that profile. Be aware by doing that, and actually let me go to the downloaded version so I could rotate it. That may be considered efficient the way I've taught you, but I wouldn't recommend for a new user to do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and use what they call the layer cake method, where I draw a circle, I extrude it up, draw another circle on the top for the neck of the bottle, extrude that up for the height, that method I'm going to use instead. It's easier for new users to comprehend that and utilize it versus when you're putting a lot of details in the sketch. It's very time consuming. You're going to have to offset the edges. There's a lot of different variables. So my recommendation is not to do it revolved, although I've seen students do it. I've noticed though that they typically take an extra 15 to 20 minutes on that, on completing the test usually, and it's not always right. So I'm going to try and show you best practice for this. All right, so we can see the bottle is 2 inches in diameter. The neck is 1.5 inches in diameter. Remember that because the cap's going to be the same size. We're not going to put in any tolerances. We're just going to go ahead and make it line to line in this case, which goes against engineering principles. Be aware. But it's just because this is a first shot. There's a lot of content in this midterm. Okay, it's parts, assemblies, drawings. I expect a lot, and so I'm not going to put in all those little engineering details. Okay, let's go with new. We'll start the part, and we'll call this the bottle. Hit OK, and select the top plane here, and go to extrude. Go to the circle tool, and at the center, drag out a circle and dimension it at 2 inches. Now, what I did there is, remember, I middle-click to draw, or middle-click 2 times to end the sketch. Now I'm going to go over here to refit, and I'll even squeeze this in a little bit more and refit again. And I'm going to get rid of the planes. I'll just turn off all these entities. Okay, now I'm going to hit OK, and we'll rotate that. This gets extruded 2.5 inches. And I'll select this face. Now, before you select this face, some of you have a tendency to rotate it around. You end up building it upside down. And then when you bring it into the assembly, you don't know how to flip it right side up, and you get marked off 20 points. So just be aware, it might not be a bad idea here to go to the standard orientation. Then we know that that's an isometric view, and we're looking at the top. So select the top there, go to extrude. Now the neck of the bottle, if you can remember this, it's 1.5 inches. And hit OK. And it only gets extruded 1/2 inch, so 0.5. All right, now we have 2 things left. We have the rounds and we have the shell. Just remember, shell comes last. If you reverse the order, it's going to have some effects on the inside of the bottle that I'll notice, and it's going to be -20. So the order goes, you want to round first, and the rounds are 0.1, and this is going to be this edge right here, this edge here, and this edge down here. Do not round that top edge. That's sharp. Now you could go to shell. And here is probably the number 2 missed feature. And once you do this, there's students usually, it's just a sign that they didn't practice. And it ends up being very hurtful to their grade. You need to shell it out. Well, I have a lot of students who just hit OK. And it's shelled out, but there's no opening at the top. So just remember, select this first. Make sure you see that preview, that it's shelling that out. And it should be 0.1, by the way, for the wall thickness. And hit OK. If you just hit OK, it would shell it out, but there would be no opening. The way to fix it is just to edit. You could click on the shell and edit it. And then you select that face, hit enter, and it'll return to normal. Or just hit undo or delete it and put it back in. All right, so that's it for the bottle. Now let's go to the cap. So new cap. Now the drawing for the cap looks like this. I'm just going to go through. Notice that the largest diameter is 1.9, and then we have the ID here is 1.5. There's a 1.8, which gets a little bit smaller underneath the very top portion, and then we're going to have a series of ribs around there, because remember, it's going to give us a gripper. So let's go ahead and select the top plane, go to extrude. And notice, and I didn't call this out earlier, the top plane is very important for the bottle, especially the bottle, because it's going to sit on a tabletop. Now, if you select the front plane like we've been doing the past several weeks for our models, when you go to a drawing, the bottle's going to be resting on its side. So by selecting the top plane, it rests upward. That could be 20 points off if you can't figure out how to flip it. So if you sketch the midterm parts on the top plane, you're going to be in good shape. You don't even have to worry about that. So go to circle and then draw out the circle, and it's 1.9. So it just stepped down a little bit. I'm going to go to refit here so you can see this. Let's do it again. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. The thickness is only 0.1 for that top. 0.1. And then go over here to standard orientation so we can tell what's top and bottom. Now here is the #1 missed feature. It's 20 points off. But yet, every student I've ever had by the time of the midterm knows how to put a round on. So it's just a matter of them forgetting, but I have to mark it off because it's significant. So click on round, set it to 0.1, and select this edge right here. That's all. But a lot of students forget that. Okay, now flip to the underside, select this face, go to extrude, go to the circle tool, and right at the center, drag out a circle and dimension this 1.8, so it steps just a little bit smaller. Remember, the top was 1.9. Now go to OK. Now, here's where my best and brightest students make a mistake. Catastrophic error of drawing the circle on the inside of 1.5. They're not the same depth, so don't try and put them together. This extrusion here is going to be 1/2 inch. The hole is only 0.4 deep, so it's not even a full 1/2 inch. Okay, so but my best and brightest students do that because they're always looking for ways to integrate features, which is actually smart, but it's not smart that they're not looking at the dimensions. So that could be bad. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to a 1/2 inch, hit enter. Select this face now, go to extrude, and now we could put the hole in. Also, don't try and shell it because the wall thicknesses aren't the same. So shell is only really good if you have a constant wall thickness. There is variable wall thickness capabilities inside the software. We're not going to get into that until the advanced class, so just be aware of that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and set this 1.5 and hit enter, or hit OK. Now flip it, and it's going to go to cut, and that's fine. But remember, this one only goes 0.4. Oops, let's forget to put the 0.4, and hit OK. All right, let's put on the ribs. Select this face, start a sketch. Let's go to the circle tool, lock it right in here to here. And because that's locked in, and it's locked in tangent, normally the dimension is 0.1 diameter, but we don't need to put it in because it's already defined. Notice there's no dimensions that appeared. So it's fully defined on the edges. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Let's flip the direction. Right here is flip. And then let's go up to next. There we go. Hit the green check. Now this is where I have students who have actually in class sat there for 45 minutes and can't remember how to put the pattern on. Remember, the pattern is only worth 20 points on a 300-point test. If you forget how to do it, I just recommend move along. Go to the assembly, assemble the parts, explode them, get them into a drawing, finish everything, and then go back and fix it if you feel you can. But I've had students actually get up and walk out. And I think they're going to the restroom, and it's like, oh wait, they're not coming back. And I've called them to find out what happened, and this was it. So watch this carefully so you don't mess this one up. Okay, I'm going to go to pattern while that's selected. And I'm going to go to axis, and now we have to turn on our axis display and select the axis. And we need 50, so type in 50, and here 360 for 360 degrees divided by 50 instances will give us our angle, which is 7.2. Now if you can remember 7.2, just plop that in there, but note that you can put in little equations inside dimensional boxes like that. Go ahead and hit OK. And we can turn off the axis display because it's a little messy looking. And that's it. That's the cap. That's 50 points right there. The bottle was 50 points. The cap's 50 points. Let's now go to New, Assembly. So we're going on to step 3 now. The assembly, and we'll go ahead and call this med underscore bot for med bottle. Go ahead and hit OK. And now we're going to take this and we go to Assemble. And if you go to in session, because I didn't save them yet, I didn't save backups of them. So if you go to in session, you will actually find your parts. So let's go ahead and select the bottle first, hit open. And instead of automatic, you're going to go to default and hit OK. That locks in the origin of the part into the origin of the assembly. Do you need to do that? Kind of. Unless you're a very advanced user, I haven't taught you how to section when something's not on the section in the view. So what would happen if you didn't do that, if you missed that step later on, and listen closely, later on in your drawing, when you go to try and create a section view of this bottle, if you didn't lock that in, you will not get the section view. And then you're going to have to sit there and figure out how to get it. And that, I've had students just not have the time to do it. So just be aware that step, choosing instead of automatic, choosing default for the placement is going to save you a lot of time because you won't have the issue then. All right, now we're going to go to assemble. Go to in session, select the cap, and hit open. Now bring the cap up because I've had students try and locate it, and it locates itself inside the bottle. So just, not that that's a big deal, you just have to pull it out. All right, so I'm going to select this face here to this face to align those, and then the underside face of the hole inside the cap to the top face of the neck of the bottle. Now it's going to go with distance, but let's set it to coincident and hit OK. Now, if you do it any other way, you might run into problems. I've had where students collapse if they select this face to this face right here, and then there's an interference, 20 points off. So just be aware. Okay, now we could explode it, but there is actually an auto explode already in there, and if it's aligned correctly, as long as you got both of those relationships, it will align itself directly above it and the auto explode. So you don't even have to explode it if you didn't want to. I wouldn't even recommend it, actually. It's going to explode later when we bring it up into the drawing. But let's now go to New, Drawing, and we'll call it Med Bot for medicine bottle. Hit OK. And use empty with format, browse, and select the A format. Hit open and OK. Go up to general view, hit OK, click to drop that right there. We actually want the front view orientation, so double click on front, go to view display, change it to no hidden, and then phantom, and hit apply, hit OK. All right, we're going to unfold some other views off of that, so go to project view, click, we're going to drop one down here, click there. Now click on that again, go to projection view and get a right view. Go to general view, hit OK, and bring in our isometric. Now here, with the isometric, go to view state and explode and hit apply, and it should explode it for you. Now beware, with simple parts like this, the auto explode is great. For more advanced parts, like you're going to see on your final exam, you're going to actually have to pull it apart because it just doesn't do what we'd hope it to do. Okay, so we'll have to customize, but here it's built in. Use it if you can. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and select these two views, and I want to go ahead and go to properties right here, the gold ball, and we're going to go with no hidden and phantom, apply, and OK. Now this needs to be a section view, so let's turn on our plane display, but don't forget to turn it off later. All right, now we're going to click on this. We're going to go to properties, and we want to go to sections, 2D cross section, hit the plus symbol, and right here just hit done, and type in capital A up here for the label, hit the green check, and now get in here, and when you see that orange center appear, click on it. That will not appear. If it doesn't appear, that's an indicator that you didn't drop the part in the assembly file correctly. You left it at automatic versus actually default, which would have locked it in origin, because it's utilizing the assembly plane, which in that case it's a right assembly plane, as the sectioning plane. and your bottle's floating out here because you didn't select where it was supposed to go properly. So you're going to have to fix that. I'm not going to show you how to fix that here. What I want you to do is rebuild it the correct way. And then you could figure it out if you like. Okay, go ahead and let's move this out of the way. You could hit apply and you'll see there's our section. Hit OK. We could double click on that view again. Let's go to view display. And we do want no hidden. Oh, actually, it looks like it picked out what we wanted. So that's cool. All right, now don't forget, I will mark off 20 points if those planes are still on there. And let's move this. You just click on this, relocate that. Now, if you want to move the views, remember, turn off lock. And now you can move the views wherever you want. Okay, we want a detail view. So click on detail view. Select this little edge right here. See this edge? Click and start at the 12 o'clock. You're going to make a bubble around it. That's 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And you don't have to close it. Just middle mouse button click. It'll automatically close it. Drop it right here. And then relocate that. Now this, I don't like to see. This is where I mark off 5 points, believe it or not. That to me is, even though it did it automatically, it's not acceptable for a drawing. I don't want a drawing going out to someone, a boss, potential employer, and that looks normal. No, it doesn't. So that's where I mark off 5 points. It's not catastrophic, but you also don't want that on the test. You don't want little red markups on that. So make sure you just practice this. You won't have any problem, actually, as long as you practice it. I usually recommend try it 3 times. And you'll find by the 3rd time, you're knocking it out in 15 minutes. The first time you do this, if you did it on your own, I've seen students go 3 hours. So anyhow, now what we're going to do, let's add some annotations. So click here and go to the annotate and click on show model annotations. Now this is where, if you remember, we could add dimensions. We don't want the dimensions. Instead, click on this and select that face, and there's our center mark. Go ahead and select the center mark and hit OK. That is worth 10 points. So just again, remember that. All right, now moving along here, we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Let's bring in a bill of materials. Select any of the views. Actually, I don't think it matters how you select it. There is a BTL table. Now, I'm not certain if I uploaded it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how to do this manually, but let me just check. So I didn't upload the BTL table, but what we can do here, okay, actually, I do have it online that you could grab it. Now, it's in the final exam parts. This is not the final exam, remember, this is the midterm. I'd rather you do it using this table because in real world, this is probably how you're going to do it versus writing out an individual table. If you want to see how to make a table, but from scratch, watch the midterm from either version 2, Creo version 2, or whatever midterm you might find that's between then and now. And I show you how to do it manually, but it's not an automatic table. I want to show you how to use an automatic table. So here's what you should do, is go to the Vertanu one, VERTANUX1.com. And once you get there, that's the home page. You just go to part files. Now, look in the white column, and you should find the final exam parts. Click on that. It'll bring you here. Hit download. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, there's only one file. You don't need all these parts. This BOM table is the only thing you want. So right-click on that and copy it. And then if you want, just right-click on your desktop and paste it. Now, take a look here. We're going to go to, let's see here, Table from File, go to Desktop, and there it is, BOM Table. Now, this automates the process. This is a blank table from the get-go. What it's going to do, though, it's going to look at the parts that you've selected in here. Oh, it says it's not compatible. Okay, so I guess we're stuck making it a new one. I'll have to go ahead and just show you how to do it this way. So I'm going to go to Table, and what you do from Table is let's see, we have 2 parts, and we want part number, part name, and quantity. So we need 3 across, and then 3 down because there's only 2 parts, and then the top is just the list. So click, make that bracket there, and go ahead and drop this right there. Now you could double click in here, and we'll go ahead and type in part, and we'll put in pound, part number, double click in here, name or description you can put in. And then this one is going to be QTY for quantity. All right, and then here we go ahead and double click in there. We'll put 1. Here we'll put 2. The first thing we're going to put in is the bottle. Second is the cap. And quantities of 1 and 1. All right, now what we can do, we could go ahead and take and drop in here under annotate. We have annotations. Let's see if we could do a balloon note here. We want width leader. And let's see. Okay, let's hit make note. I'm gonna click right there. Let's see. This puts it in. Okay, we'll call this, that's the cap, so that's actually part 2. Okay, that worked. All right, make note again. Select this one. Oops. Let's try that again. Hold on. Okay, and I just middle clicked a couple times there. And then this will be part 1. Hit the green check twice. All right, hit done and return. So that's one way. Otherwise, you could just go to make note, but you can't get the balloons that easily. All right, and then don't forget your name. Now we're going to go to make note, or just note here. Click here, put your full name in. Middle click. And that concludes. Oh, and then when you want to print it or send it to me, File, do a Save As, Quick Export PDF. There it is. You could either print it if you're in my class, or email me this PDF file. Go ahead and just save the PDF or whatever. And that concludes this review session. Good luck.